gentlemen, dreamers and dwellers of the mysterious realms of cinema, welcome to a gathering that shines a spotlight on the overlooked, the obscure, and the hauntingly beautiful. Tonight, we delve into the shadows, exploring films that have danced on the fringes of recognition, much like a dream slipping away at the first light of day. Now, I must admit I find myself here with a slight bewilderment. I was led to believe I would be nominating individuals for an award bearing my name. Alas, I discovered too late that Lynch's Luminaries was, in fact, not an accolade designed to honor my own luminous contributions. A classic case of Barbenheimer-induced confusion, I suppose. As we traverse the cinematic landscape of 2023, we find ourselves navigating a labyrinth where horror films, those spectral wonders that linger in the corridors of our collective unconscious, deserve a moment in the spotlight. Talk to Me, a film that whispers secrets and eludes easy interpretation, invites us to converse with the enigmatic echoes of the mind. And then there's Megan from Blumhouse, a tale that defies expectations, leaving us to question the very nature of reality, much like a Lynchian puzzle. Now let us not forget the Holdovers, those films that lingered in the shadows of box office giants, quietly weaving their magic. They are the ghosts of the screen, haunting our thoughts long after the credits roll. It's a testament to the enduring power of the overlooked, and speaking of overlooked, my dear Inland Empire. A film so deserving, so labyrinthine, that one might jest that it deserves 5 awards of its own, each more confounding than the last. But in the spirit of the surreal, let us revel in the ambiguity and embrace the strange beauty that cinema, particularly the overlooked and the misunderstood, has to offer. So, my friends, let us embark on this odyssey through the dark corners of cinema, where the strange and the overlooked take center stage. Tonight, we celebrate the films that dance on the periphery of our understanding, beckoning us into the mysterious embrace of the silver screen. Enjoy the journey, for in the shadows lie the treasures that elude the gaze of the ordinary. Now, before I go, ladies and gentlemen, let me introduce the stewards of the evening, the guides through the peculiar corridors of our collective cinematic consciousness: Clark Little, Russell Fisher, Randy Stott, Oksana Osashai, and, of course, our extraordinary guests for the night. Enter the stage, the maestros behind a film that IGN, in its infinite wisdom, described as a callback to boundless horror entertainment that blasts raucous tunes and exacts bloody revenge. None other than the architects of the Retaliators, the enigmatic Geare brothers, Darren Geare and Jeff Geare.
The Geare brothers, I love it.
The Geare brothers, yes, Mr. Lynch.
David. I just want to say that this is officially the 8th annual Lookie Awards that we've done. And officially, we've jumped the shark. Russell, what the fuck was that?
I don't know, dude. I think he had a stroke. Welcome to the Lookies, everybody.
Man. So thankful to have the Geare brothers here today. Jeff and Darren, what's up, boys?
Well, you can't beat an intro from Mr. Lynch himself. And I think we're going to change the pronunciation from now on.
Yeah. We are the Geare brothers.
It sounds much better than Gear.
Well, I think we'll get a bigger foothold in the European market.
It does. It sounds a little more highfalutin, right?
Like Geare is to gear as like Dierte is to dirt, like in Joe Dirt.
Exactly.
Yeah. You know?
That's right.
Yes.
Yeah, you
I
guys
like
get
it.
big up in Montreal. Get some of that French Canadian.
Yeah, I think that's a good call.
All right. Well, welcome to the 8th annual Lookie Awards, also known as episode 488.
Are you throwing me a curveball right now? I don't fucking know.
I think
488.
488.
Good job.
The 8th annual Lookie Awards. Now, before I am confident in telling that it is the 8th annual, as pre-production meeting, a solid 15 minutes. We had to figure out if this was the 7th, 8th, or 9th, as we did mess up one year. We did incorrectly say which Lookies it was. So I think we fixed it. I don't know, but shit's wrong in the Bible too. So what are you gonna do? Everything's okay.
Clark,
So,
your voice got kind of high there, kind of like when David Lynch's voice got kind of high out of nowhere.
I didn't notice.
I feel like my mic is a little weird. I did have to turn it up a little bit.
I meant it as a
Did you light
compliment.
it on fire again?
No, the XLR cable is not on fire. That has been a problem in the past. I do like to have a candle right next to the XLR cable and have set one on fire before. All right.
How about now? You should be good now.
Is everything good?
Yeah.
Sounding okay? All right. So here we go. Let's go ahead and let's kick off the Lookie Awards. While we do that, let's go ahead and go around the table and maybe talk about a few movies that did not make our list, or how we sort of what was our sort of mindset when we were figuring out what our favorite movies of the year were. And like we generally have on this show, every year is a bit of its own sort of sorted bag. As we're gonna have a lot of different picks here. I imagine we'll have some YouTube documentaries. I think Randy's got a TV show. I've got a couple bags up my sleeve. That's a thing.
Okay.
I've got the bags up my sleeve. I'm ready to go. So, and Lord knows what the Geare brothers do. They just changed their name mid-show. So, who knows? Who knows what's in store? So, So, Jeff and Darren, what's a couple movies that is not on either of your lists that you do want to mention here as amongst your favorite of the year?
You want to go for an honorable mention?
Yeah, I'll go for an honorable mention here since I'll probably be hated for this one, but I don't care. I'm going to go in the new Indiana Jones movie.
Mamma mia.
Dude, that's my number one.
Okay. I walked out of that and thought, I like it better than The Last Crusade.
Whoa.
Yeah. I'll probably get killed for that one. I actually really liked it. And I really loved Mads Mikkelsen. I thought he was awesome in it. And I think you guys, what's funny is, see, I hadn't seen Hannibal yet. And you guys, I think, recommended me to watch Hannibal.
Yeah.
And I loved Mads Mikkelsen so much in Indiana Jones. I went and watched Hannibal, remembering that you also told me to watch Hannibal, going like, well, this is like meant to be now. And that's like my favorite show ever now. So that was pretty cool. So yeah, I'll give Dial of Destiny some respect.
Yeah, I'll agree with the hot take of not the biggest Last Crusade fan. Huge Temple of Doom fan. Not the biggest.
Yeah.
I feel like watching Last Crusade now, I feel like, I don't know.
I don't
some
like
of
it.
its
I really don't like Last Crusade.
juice.
I'm Raiders and Temple of Doom all the way. So it wasn't a lot to get me over Crusade, but I'll tell you, the fourth Indiana Jones installment, Crystal Skull. I mean,
Yeah.
That's
about
obviously
Dan Aykroyd's vodka.
That's obviously the worst.
Dan Aykroyd's vodka. Yes.
Indiana Jones.
The search for Dan Aykroyd's vodka. I think that's
big
our
commercial.
next title. I go, dude, let's go for it.
And I thought the CGI was good. You know what I mean? A lot of people talked crap on it, but I thought it was way better than the Irishman CGI. I mean, like the de-aging and stuff like that. There was one shot where like Indy's walking away and you can see like his droop down like old man shoulders, and you're like, why did you even bother to get that shot? But yeah, that was good.
I want to do a shout out.
I cried at the end.
You cried at the end?
Yeah.
I haven't seen it.
You got tears, damn.
I got tears, dude. When Marion's like kissing him, like he's like it hurts here, and I was like, oh, it's just like the first one. Okay, let's move on.
Yeah,
Jeff, you're the only person I know who's seen that movie.
Yeah, I'm every time I see it, I can't bring myself to watch it. I see it there, I go, ugh,
you'll like it, dude.
All
Trust
right. It's one of these days I'll get to it. One honorable mention would be a movie. It's an Australian movie called The Royal Hotel. You guys seen that one?
No.
Yeah, I've seen it.
Yeah, sort of. I definitely took it as an homage to one of my favorite movies, which is Wake and Fright, 71.
Hell
Oh yeah.
71 joint. It's very Wake and Fright, the repetition, partying, and the overconsumption of alcohol and Australia kind of vibe.
Your whole gratuitous killing of kangaroos.
Yeah. But there were no
IRL.
no kangaroo murder in this one. It gets to some pretty tense moments, and felt like it could have gone a little further. But I mean, as far as just good thriller, fun watch, and especially if you like that kind of vibe, middle of the outback, middle of nowhere. If you like Wake and Fright, it's definitely, I would have to imagine the writers or director or whatever, it had to be somewhat of an homage to that, because it's very much got that vibe.
Oh, Randy, why didn't you tell me about this? Or did you talk about this on
Dude,
the show?
I'm into it too.
I don't know if I talked about it on the show. I did see
Randy,
it
what
maybe
good are you?
a couple months ago. Okay, I did.
Randy, you
did.
hiding
I talked about it. You just don't listen.
titles? What's going on?
I talk about so many I forget, apparently.
Also, it's the director of a movie that Clark covered, Casting JonBenet.
Yeah, it was 2017. That was a while ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was an interesting documentary, which I also think made the Lookies that year.
Oh God.
Back when I was watching so many documentaries where I had a narrative and a top 5 doc.
Yeah.
I think she did The Assistant as well.
Oh, that was a good move. Excellent. All right, Randy, honorable mention. What you got?
Sure, I'm going to go comedy. It'll be no surprise that I probably don't have much horror on this episode, but Theater Camp, the faux documentary about a theater troupe that is needs money, and sort of their struggles to gain money to keep the very niche theater camp they have going somewhere in the Northeast. It's I saw it here at a local indie theater with I think it was sold out, and I don't know, it's probably one of the funnest theater experience I had. Just like everyone laughing and really enjoying it, and there's a lot of good writing. It's it's a faux documentary, and it's very fun. I plan on watching it again soon. I think it's streaming somewhere. It might be on Hulu, I think. But yeah, that was a lot of fun.
And we're happy with that word choice, funnest.
Most fun.
There we go.
It's
Thank you so
most
much, Randy.
funnest. Yeah.
All right. So for my honorable mention, I'm gonna list you 10 through 6 as my top 10. I got my top 10 queued up, baby. We're ready to roll. It's game time. It's game day, baby. Coming in at number 10 for Clark is The Holdovers, followed by number 9 is The Kane Mutiny Court Martial.
Hell
That's right.
yeah,
Billy Friedkin's coming in the top 10, baby.
Dude, great flick. I just saw
Followed by
that.
number 8 is May December. Followed by number 7 is, where did it go? What is number 7?
Oh my God.
Oh, I messed up.
Oh
Ignore.
my God. What?
Followed by number 6 is Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving did not make the top 5. It was close. We were under the gun. Love Thanksgiving, but coming in at number 6. So that's sort of my outlier there. I saw it twice in the theater. Couldn't love it more. But I also figured that, it's going to be covered. So, I just wanted to mention it there. So shout out to Thanksgiving. Oksana.
That was all yours? I thought you had 20 mentions to do.
Well, I went through it, but then also, where did a movie disappeared on my
really?
list?
Uh-oh.
All right, Oksana.
I guess I'm not as solidified in my top 5 yet, but it looks like I have a lot of found footage in my honorable mentions that did not make the list. Hell House LLC, the Carmichael Manor.
Yeah.
I love Deliver Us, that did not make the list. VHS 1985.
Yes,
Forgot that was this year. Like, oh, shit, that movie was a lot of fun. And one of the TBR movies we watched earlier this year, Morau video. How do you pronounce that?
Marui? Yeah.
I really like that one. It felt very.
Yeah, choose
like,
one of those 6 pronunciations
Yeah.
we just threw out there.
I think
All
it's
of them.
Marui. Yeah.
Yeah, that came out this year.
Moana video. Did you just put a shirt on?
Yeah, I'm getting dressed up.
Oh, thank you so much.
I got to button up.
Tux on.
All these fucking peasants on this show.
That's right.
Y'all couldn't even be bothered.
Yeah, and you look like you're about to take my order.
It's the-
at an Applebee's.
Look, it's theater of mind. There are buttons on the shirt.
I got buttons, dude. I can do buttons.
All right, Randy, nobody asked you to. All right, get back in the booth.
My
turn?
Yes, sir.
All right, I got a couple. One, I want to give a honorable mention. This is a very hard decision, but you didn't make the cut. And it's probably because the movie that I enjoyed the most of yours was 6 hours long. And yet during the film, you kept saying, I wanted to include more, but it was getting a little lengthy. And I'm like, are you fucking mocking me? Again, I'm talking about the documentary everybody loved. Young Boy, Real Killer, Fake Gangster by Traplore Ross. He is a prolific, I almost called him a cinematographer, but actually that's the complaint Clark has about online documentaries. They're not very visual. And I get it.
Yeah.
You're digging on the internet. But I highly recommend people check out Traplore Ross. You're probably all King Von fans here. Go check out his definitive documentary. It's a little under 4 hours. And you decide, was he a truly raps for a serial killer? And another honorable mention.
Is this out of your system now, or we got more to come?
No. I'm full of it, dude.
Oh,
I'm going to be coming all day.
You are full of it.
Again, another honorable mention. He was a guest on the show. Blue Hour. We had a long beef. The Overlook Hour and the Blue Hour. We've been fighting for a while. And of course, I'm talking about Blue Hour, the disappearance of Nick Brandreth by our good friend Dan Bowers. Now at the Unnamed Footage Festival, we did a virtual fest and he programmed about half of it with all his content. Yet on the following podcast, I did not mention his name a single time. It was me and Terrell, and I wasn't going to volleyball it off him. Dan came back at me with a pipe bomb threat delivered to this house. Clark, this is why I've had you answer the door for the past month.
Oh, now I
So, Dan, you know, you were up there. We had the Lookie. We were sending it to you early. That's what we have to do. And I was about to email you about your speech, and then I got that pipe bomb threat, and I just had to withdraw it. But again, a good found footage sci-fi film.
Excellent.
Yeah.
All right.
Also, fuck you, Dan Bowers.
He's like 8 feet tall.
He's 6'5", and he has bragged to me about the rear view mirrors he's broken off of cars because he's also a very passionate bicyclist.
Oh. You remember when you broke my rear view mirror?
I do. I fell into it. I was drunk. It was a little bit different.
Yeah.
Just a little.
Yeah, well, we still got to the same destination, didn't we?
We did.
All right, everyone. It's the time that we've all been pining for. It's our top 5 favorite films of 2023. Russell with the quick finger Magoo over there. Excellent. I'm not going to do a thing. All right, we'll just jump right into it.
You're not doing a thing, dude. We hired the band, and you're
That's
not going
right.
to do a thing?
Well, because I didn't realize that the MC was going to go on a 19-minute filibuster that turned into some fever dream that I think messed up my audio.
Yeah, probably.
Yeah.
I think David Lynch may have died. Don't worry. People are going to hear about this show.
What is he, Clint Howard?
He's on a stretcher. That's all I know.
By the way, Geare brothers, it's a long-going theme on this show where we are convinced that Clint Howard has been dead during our lifetime. You guys remember that, or do you remember him being alive all the time?
Like he's been dead our whole lives?
No, I feel like Clint Howard died, and now he's not dead.
Yeah, he might be dead, dude.
Are you trying to invent like a new
Mandela
Mandela effect kind of thing?
I think this is an existing
It's the only one I believe.
This is the only like route.
This is the one I die on this hill. Because I'm convinced that Clint Howard
Sounds like
was
Clint
dead.
Howard did.
Where is he?
Thank you so much.
Oh,
excellent. All right, Jeff, let's go ahead. Let's kick it off to you. Give us our number 5 favorite film of the year.
Yeah, this was tough doing the top 5. I almost. Well, I won't talk about my almosts. I'll just go with it. I'm gonna go with Knock at the Cabin.
Oh,
Hey
okay.
now.
Yeah. Hey now was right. I dug it, man. I really dug that film. I went in not really expecting to like it. I just every time a new M. Night Shyamalan movie comes out, I just have to see it, and I was pleasantly very, very surprised at how great it was. And just solid flick, man, all around. And it just kicks off right at the start. Like it wastes no time. And I really appreciated that too. So
For me, it's Batista, man. He's fantastic in this movie. It's just the gentle
Daniel
lion.
Daniel Tosh is amazing in it.
Daniel Tosh.
I'm just kidding. that lead actor looks like
He does.
The guy from Mindhunter.
The guy from Mindhunter, yeah.
He does. He's got the Tosh glasses on for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Now, since you put that, you're sending Knock at the Cabin an award. Did you think there was a twist in the movie? What's your opinion on that?
Did I think there was a twist in the movie? No, I didn't think there was a twist. I think it just picked a lane. It just picked a path. And, they made you guessing to the end, but it wasn't like it changed everything, it wasn't a Sixth Sense ending. You know what I mean?
We went to the theater and saw it with a lot of people, and half of them complained there was no twist. Although I have a hot take, I do think there was a twist. But we won't get into that here.
Okay,
I will tell you about it though.
Was there a shout?
A lot of people didn't like that movie. I actually thought that was a movie calling for like unity across America, though.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
And who else to lead that message than M. Night Shyamalan?
No.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what I've always said.
All right, number 5.
M. Night predicted it himself in Lady in the Water that he would unite the world.
That's true.
Yeah, is that the only one I haven't seen?
I'm glad you brought it up because I was gonna be like, yeah.
I think
it's the only one.
You haven't seen it?
No. Yeah.
If you like the Holdovers, you're gonna like Paul Giamatti. You're gonna really love Paul Giamatti.
That's true.
I respect the comeback that M. Night has had in the last multiple years, pretty much since after Earth or after the happening or
Avatar.
Avatar. After Avatar.
Into those kind of flicks.
But Lady in the Water is a special kind of bad. It is a it's a you have to see it to believe it. It's indescribable.
Yeah.
It's indescribable.
All right, I'm back in.
Yeah.
I'm back in. I love a special type of bad.
Yeah.
More on that.
Very
in my top 5.
type of bad. Yeah.
All right, Darren, what you got for number 5?
Number 5, I think this is one of those ones that came out in its country in 22, but it came out here in 23, so it's a cusp one like that. But this was a Joel Edgerton movie, came out on Netflix called The Stranger. Did you guys see that?
Love it. We talked about it on Tuesday.
I've tried The Stranger before.
Did you?
Yeah, the left hand, right?
Hey.
Repeating jokes.
Yeah,
I love it.
I walked right into that one.
He's all, "What's that? Let me show you."
I prefer the ghost.
I'm a sucker for.
That's how you make a brother team last.
Yeah. I'm a sucker for undercover movies. I love when the protagonist is undercover, and I would say this is one of the best I've seen in a while, where you are just like gripping your chair, just feeling that feeling of being undercover. And boy, Joel Edgerton, both of those guys, the acting in that movie is just unreal. But yeah, love that movie.
It's fantastic. And I was actually on the Tuesday episode, I mentioned The Stranger because that director's first movie is a film from 2018 called Acute Misfortune. Have you seen that?
No.
That's on Amazon Prime.
Okay,
it's excellent. Check that out. That was his first feature film, and is actually a biopic about an Australian artist. That's quite good. So check that one out as well. Stranger, excellent pick. Randy, you're number 5.
Sure, yeah. I haven't actually talked about this one on the show yet, but saw it several weeks ago.
Sneaky boy.
Poor Things, the new Yorgos Lanthimos movie.
You rat bastard.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it's great. Emma Stone's great. She's awesome in this, as well as The Curse, the new show with Safdie and Nathan Fielder. But yeah, I just really loved the sets in here. Everything is like on sound stages, but it's going for, not reality, but not like too crazy at the same time. And all the, there's a lot of just very like cool, interesting choices of like camera lenses and like fish eyes.
That's
the
awesome.
score is like really interesting, and it does this like pitch up thing of like notes as they're playing. It's just like the whole thing creates a really like weird, dark sort of like fairy tale nightmare sort of a thing. And I loved Willem Dafoe's sort of mad scientist who reanimates Emma Stone's character, and she's kind of trying to figure out her body while she has the child, or the brain of a child, essentially. And it's a very physical performance. It's not like, it's more like his work in The Favorite, where the comedy is much more like, I wouldn't say broad, but it's much more, it's not as deadpan as his like early stuff.
Accessible.
It's a little more accessible for sure. But although this movie gets pretty dark too, but yeah, I really dug it. I saw it a couple weeks ago and plan on checking it out again soon.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That sounds great.
I meant to squeeze this in. I didn't have a chance.
Oh my God.
You know that I love my Yorgos, but I just didn't have a chance to fit him in. So all right, Randy with his little sneak attack over there. Holding out with Poor Things. All right, boys and girls, my number 5. Now here's how I've comprised my list. I'm currently logged into my Letterboxd, and I have created a scratch list, which I have made private. So I've got, I think, 13 movies here. Also, to reiterate, I misspoke when I was giving my top 10. Number 10 is The Holdovers. Number 9 is The Kane Mutiny Court Martial.
My God.
Number 8 is Asteroid City. Number 7 is May December. Number 6 is Thanksgiving. Number 5 on that list is a movie that I talked about on this show. All right, I'm not pulling a Randy with his little sneaky bullshit. No, I've mentioned this on this show. And I mentioned when I saw it that I was going to give it 5 stars. But in the language of this show, that means 12 stars because we have a 12-star rating system. Just cluing in the Geare brothers who, in case they wanted to know this information. We rate movies on 12 stars. It's a long reason why. Every time we rate a movie here, we have a special chart that we've got to see to make sure, like 11 stars is, I think, 2.67 thumbs. Something like that. 1.67 because that'd be 3 thumbs.
Can I get one quick example of a 12-star movie?
Oh, a 12-star. Oh, excellent. You should ask, because I would say my number 5 is a 12-star movie.
Wow.
And the name of that movie is Dix the Musical.
Dix the
Oh,
Musical?
yeah.
Wow.
Because I had a great time. I actually saw this movie with one Randy Michael Sat. We saw this at the Alamo Drafthouse Theater in, I don't know, probably a theater of 30. And I think it was slam packed. And it was a good time. It's important for especially movies like this. I would say that Dix the Musical, to me, and I'm an amateur comedy historian. So for me to kind of best sell this movie is sort of, this is a movie version of sort of a party record. And like Red Fox back in the 70s, you go to somebody's house, you play the Red Fox record, and if you ever listen to those records, I don't know if I would necessarily say that it's the most intellectually stimulating George Carlin-esque material that you're going to get from these party records, but it's just it's crass and it's off color and it's funny. And that's exactly what this movie is. And this movie felt like a throwback to what John Waters was doing, and it's mostly musical throughout. The runtime is like just under 90. Everything works for me. The songs are great. Nathan Lane and Megan Mullally they're top notch. Their characters are insane. And then, of course, the main reason why this is a 12-star movie, in my humble opinion, is because of Whisper in Backpack. All right? And you know who I'm talking about.
The Sewer Boys.
The Sewer Boys. The Sewer Boys are. They're the price of admission. These little 2-foot tall puppets that Nathan Lane found in the sewer one day, and have kept them as children. And then they escaped down the toilet, and then they go into the sewers in New York to rescue the Sewer Boys. Is that the third act? Yes, it is. But check it out. Dick's the Musical had a great time. Number 5.
You had me at Dick's.
It's great. It's great. It's
You lost me at the musical, but I'll still watch it.
Also, I think there's plenty of penis in this movie as well. And Megan the Stallion. A lot to choose from. Oksana, you're number 5.
I had a last minute change to mine. Originally,
Russell, hit the breaking news.
Oh my God.
my original number 5 was Sweet Relief. I don't know. I was kind of like, I liked it the first time, but we rewatched it at
And then it got knocked off?
Yeah, I'm sorry. So you're not naming, so it's not your number 5?
It was until very recently when I switched it for Missing.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Switching out the indie for the big old release. And anybody can say, oh, okay. All right. Sell out Magoo over here.
It is Screen Life. I think the editing was amazing in it. The story, I did not try to guess where it was going, but so maybe that's why I never saw anything coming. But I don't know. It was a lot of fun in the theater too, much like Sweet Relief, which everyone should watch.
Good job, Nick. We love you.
Yeah, all you have to do to watch Sweet Relief is email the director, and he'll send you a Google file. Russell, you're number 5.
All right. Now, the Geare brothers, I know you don't know because you didn't get the memo, but I do things differently here. I'm not a god of cinema. I'm not here with my gavel in hand, and I do not dub what is the best or the worst.
Yeah, should you be leaning against a brick wall smoking a cigarette right now?
What I do,
what the fuck?
What I do is I curate art, and in the best way I know how, by genre, and I make up the fucking genre. So here we go. I got 5 genres, right? The first one I'm going to tackle is a personal favorite. It's one, they don't really make these movies as often as they should. I can't imagine why, but it's fantasy. So here's where I shoehorn a movie into a genre parameter that doesn't quite fit. So really what I'm looking for is a group of characters going on a journey. And maybe they're not there to save the world. Maybe they're after a MacGuffin or just, a little bit of gold. And this time it was hard. Movies that I considered but are not going to make it. I thought about John Wick. I love the.
We already did that part of the show,
I know,
right?
but I do mine differently.
Thanks. Yeah,
just so you know. All the rules that you make, they don't apply to me.
Yeah, thanks.
So in the fantasy, here are the things I was considering. John Wick 4, love the Warriors homage. A little bit long journey there. Not much of a party though. And that quiet guy, I fucking hated him. Also, I learned that they only wrote that character
Mr.
because
Nobody.
Yeah, I heard they wrote him because the one John Wick didn't want all the dialogue they wrote for him, so they filled it with the new. I'm not joking. They filled it. Whatever.
That's tight. Also,
shout out to Sisu. Fantastic journey. They cloned Tyrone. These are all epic fantasy movies that I really loved. But I'm gonna do a reversal here from Oksana, and I'm gonna give it to the indie. I'm gonna go with the movie called Dark Harvest that came out.
Yeah.
Was there a boo?
No. Ooh.
Oh, okay.
That sounded like a boo.
It sounded like a boo.
I like that movie too.
I was gonna bash you with the gavel, the gavel cinema that I never use for anything other than violence.
I was hoping you were gonna put this in your list.
Well, here's the thing. Now, the Geare brothers. Are you familiar with Dark Harvest?
No.
Yeah, no.
I've not seen it.
It's just to sum it up, every year in this town, they have a dark harvest where a monster runs through the town and they lock all of their children out and they have to kill it. And when they kill it, they take all the candy out of its body and the town prospers, and whoever delivers the killing blow is heralded as a king for a day, given a car, and drives off to a new life beyond the city.
By car is a Corvette Stingray, so
Yeah.
don't just like skip
Also,
over that, dude.
we are
It's
a little
cool
bit
car.
we're in the 50s, and it's not like, we're not historically in the 50s. It's kind of like if the world was run by a David Lynch, and the David Lynch that showed up today, one that's spinning out of control. So it's gnarly, man. And if none of that sounds appealing to you, know that there is a wide shot of a bunker that shoots blood. And I know it's one of those things where you're like, well, is it kind of like Evil Dead? Is it campy? No, it's perfect. It's fucking fantastic. It's, God, what did I say? It's like every horror movie that you don't like Children of the Corn, Pumpkinhead, or that you really wanted to be good, but it's good. So Dark Harvest, the Lookie's in the mail. You deserve it.
Wow.
Excellent. David Slade, director, who has had an interesting career. And man, this is an interesting movie. I like Dark Harvest.
Yeah, it's really good.
Good choice. I'll sign off on that fantasy anytime, friend. Also, did you say Sawtooth Jack?
No, I didn't mention him.
That's the name of the monster.
The problem here,
it's a cool monster.
You can't really talk about this film without revealing one of the many rewards throughout it. So I had this problem when I reviewed it earlier in the year. It's just like, you got to kind of be like, trust me on that.
Yeah.
Which, shout out to listener Sam, who turned me on to it.
Excellent.
Nice.
All right. Now we turn around. It's time for number 4. Jeff, what you got?
Okay, so for number 4, I'm going Mission Impossible.
Yeah!
Don't you dare.
Because I fucking loved it, and I don't care. You know what I mean? I look, I hear all the criticisms. I've watched a lot of YouTube, video essays saying why it's not as good as it should have been. But I really had a lot of fun. I saw it twice in the theater. Just a solid, really fun movie. It's one of those movies where I feel like I'm going to watch this again for sure, like over the years. And that was one of the standards I kind of used for picking my top 5 is like, how many times am I going to come back to these movies? That's definitely one I'm going to be coming back to over the years. Just a solid TC flick.
So I did not include it in my list because I mention it all the time on this show. I'm a big fan of the Mission Impossible franchise. Ethan Hunt until I die. And I enjoyed this as well. I've seen it twice. I bought it when it came out. Got my digital copy. Big fan of the franchise, and it was fun. I'm ready to go. Let's go kill AI, baby.
Yeah.
Also, please note what Jeff put on while delivering this Lookie. Look at him. He's got fucking glasses on. You're giving me PTSD of when Clark. He always wears sunglasses because it's the Lookies, though.
Oh, I didn't. Well, yeah, I wanted to be formal and respectful, so I didn't put my glasses on today. But also, no, I mean, I had them on earlier, but then I started getting a bad headache, so I didn't know what's going on.
Okay, but to be fair, these are prescription. I came over to Darren's. This is not for the look. Okay, I wear glasses, and I forgot my glasses when I came over to Darren's, but I had my sunglasses because I was out driving. So. And I also wanted to look cool, so
yeah, whatever you say, Bono.
Yeah, okay.
and
that's also. Go ahead.
Let me mention too. This didn't make my list, but I do have to mention a little honorable mention here is Saltburn. I don't know if you guys have seen this yet.
Yeah,
but there is a bathtub scene in that movie that haunted me. It because I have like a germophobia. You know what I mean? Especially, and like watching what happens in that bathtub, it haunted me, dude. It was hard to go to bed that night. I was thinking about it the next day. And then I had to tell people about it. Like I had to find like my girlfriend. I was like, you're never going to watch this movie. So let me just tell you what happened so I can get it out, like kind of like release it. But I don't want to say what it exactly is because I still want it to shock Darren. So.
Release was an interesting word to choose while describing it.
Yeah.
I'm not germophobic, but that scene, I haven't seen the movie, but I've seen that scene and it's still, I couldn't finish it.
It is so, it keeps getting worse. Like as it starts, you're like, okay, creepy, weird, I get it. But then as it keeps, they up the ante like 3 or 4 times on how disgusting they can make that scene. It's actually like impressive filmmaking, I have to say, for that scene.
Well, while we're talking about it, we'll have a segment of confessional here.
Okay.
As I watched the majority of Saltburn on my cell phone, and not only was I on my cell phone, but I was having breakfast at a local dining institution.
Wait, were you finishing your bowl of cereal? I'm just kidding.
Oh no, I was eating Swedish pancakes at the Millbrae Pancake House, watching this young gentleman with his release.
Yeah.
Don't ruin it for Darren.
That's it.
Fuck it, I'm gonna ruin it, Darren. It turns out the water was brackish. That's where Saltburn, the title, comes from, and he was not expecting it.
I just
Thank you for the polite laughter.
Also, I'm glad you got that right. Brackish water is correct. Good for you.
I know my water, dude.
All right, Darren, number 4. What you got?
I do want to throw out there. I left, for whatever reason, I left Mission Impossible off just because I think it was just such a huge release. I was kind of trying to go for a little less that mainstream, but
just say it, dude. You're trying to be cool.
Huge.
Let me be the dork.
Yeah.
Right?
No, but I want to put on record that I actually, I loved that movie, and I thought, I thought it was just like a roller coaster ride. I felt like every set piece was incredible. So I was a big fan of it. So my number 4 is Influencer.
Yeah.
Did you guys see that one?
Yeah.
Really loved that one. Loved the whole idea of the island. Loved the performance of the main villain. Forgot her name, but she was really good. Just one of those movies that I love. Anything in a horror thriller genre where I really just can like sort of don't know where it's going, but also there's an inevitable sort of way I sort of saw it going to which you wanted to go. It was kind of had that combination. Just a really fun movie. I thought it was great.
Yeah, my sole critique of the film, if I remember correctly, was that they still are kind of going with the influencers are lonely people. And I'm like, man, I just didn't buy it. That girl, I'm like, people would want to be like partying with that lead. Although it's the first time, was Cassandra Nod the person you were talking about, the one with the birthmark?
Yeah.
Yeah. What an interesting casting choice.
Yeah.
How did you feel about that? Like, y'all are in the film industry. Like, do you think you'd have to like change a script once you hire a girl like that? Because you got to talk about her birthmark.
Well, I mean, what was so great? Well, first of all,
I didn't know that was a real birthmark.
My only
it's real.
Oh, yeah, it was.
My only critique of the movie actually is the title. I actually don't think influencer. I don't think it was it really said what the movie was. I think it was more of a marketing decision kind of thing. The birthmark, I thought it was really cool. What's very strange is that it's an integral plot piece. So I don't know how I'm very curious how that all worked out. I wonder if the role was written for her, because I mean it's for those who, I don't want to spoil it, but there's a pretty key plot moment that has to do with the birthmark. So I think
they probably wrote it first, and then they can't cast anybody without that birthmark. They have to.
you know what's funny though?
People with birthmarks losing jobs. You know, so
I feel like this is a good example of a movie that would be like completely different in story if it were in-world camera, just because you'd have to lean into that authenticity. And when Cassandra, the actual actress, is asked about her birthmark, because she's a very beautiful girl, but she's got like a hairy mole on her cheek.
Well, so does Drew Brees, and he still won a Super Bowl.
God. Well, when asked about like, did you ever think of removing it? She was like, I did. And, the doctors were like, you could like lose vision in that eye or even have your face kind of go numb there. And honestly, I think at the end of the day, she realized I'll stand out of the pretty girl crowd with it.
Yeah.
Right.
It's smart.
But in the movie, she's kind of playing a girl who's like possessed with like rage about it. I don't know. It was weird. Yeah. I'm like, hell no. In this world, people would love it. It'd be a fetish porn immediately.
Yeah. No, I can see
Pet
that.
My mole.
PetMyMole.com.
Pet my mole.
All right, Randy Michael, you're number 4.
Yeah, I did talk about this one twice on the show, so I'll be quick with it. But
now that's too much.
I know. There's no in between. The new Quentin Dupieux film, Smoking Causes Coughing.
That old boy.
Which he makes very, odd French deadpan comedies. He put out Incredible But True, I think, maybe the same year or maybe the year before. Mandibles, Deerskin. He did Rubber back in the day. You always know what to expect, or at least I always know what to expect. They're always short. They're always 90, like under 90. This one's 77 minutes. And they're just fun and very weird. In this movie, there is a barracuda that is being cooked on a grill that tells a story about a man who was essentially stuck in like a wood chipper. And it gets very gory and violent. And it's great. It's very fun. Like I said, I put it on. It's 77 minutes. It's fun. There's a lot of cool stuff. There's a rat puppet in here that like oozes green like spit that is very funny. He's like the leader of this group of the main characters who are all sort of telling stories around a campfire. So it's got sort of like a anthology sort of feel to the movie. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. And he's already got 2 more in the can. So looking forward to those.
He cranks them out, dude. I hadn't caught up with this. Russ, did you see this? I know.
No, I want to.
I didn't even see the one prior to this. What was that called? Mandibles.
With the fly.
Mandibles is fun. Yeah,
that one's good. The thing is, this movie is ripe for a like Randy retread because there's probably like a whole genre element that just is completely over his head. Again, like the whole Sentai group. Like, I wonder what kind of Japanese stuff they're tapping into there, like Ultraman or something that just would not appear on Randy's radar.
I've heard criticisms from people saying that because it looks like whatever you just said or Power Rangers in the beginning, and then it totally turns into something different. So I've heard people that say that they're kind of bummed that it's like not really what is sort of advertised, but it didn't really bug me.
I'm bummed. I'm immediately bummed. Okay.
All right. Coming in at number 4, we've got the first caveat of my list. Because I've got a tie for number 4. Because now I'm going to say I have a tie, but to be honest with you, I have to do this. I have to pair these two together. I have no choice. Because the theme of this pick is sort of what was my favorite theatrical experience of the year. And with both of these movies, and honestly, you could probably loop in number 5, Dick's the Musical, in this as well, because it's important to have a good community when you see these movies, because it's part of the success of these things. And fortunately, I was able to see both of these, one with the filmmaker there, the other was not. And thankfully, I'm glad that's the case, because if he was there, I don't know what kind of energy he's going to bring to the table, to be honest with you. And I think we're all going to be weirded out if Neil Breen showed up.
Oh,
that's right. Because this year in 2023, we were fortunate enough to have theatrical releases, not only from Neil Breen with Cade, The Tortured Crossing, but the long-awaited return of Tommy Wiseau with Big Shark. So we were able to see Big Shark with Tommy in person. That was a wild experience. And then we were able to see Cade, The Tortured Crossing as well. Both of these movies, these gentlemen, they're in the club together. There's not a lot of people in this club that these two are in, but they occupy a space in film that is very unique in terms of outside cinema, I guess is the best way to describe what's happening here. They both have similar styles, but they do their own thing. Big Shark is The best way to describe Big Shark is it's a fever dream. And that's kind of how Russell and I have described it internally. It's the best way because you cannot map out on paper what you're looking at. Nothing makes sense, but yet everything makes sense at the same time. It's great. I love Big Shark. I genuinely had a great time watching this insane thing that anyone who had any sort of understanding of film could not make. And so that's why, these sort of outsider art things are so fun to be a part of and watch, is because, these are free thinkers. All right. They're free thinkers, and they're also free thinkers on a budget, which is why everything looks like dog shit. But, and also Russell, coincidentally, both of these movies were mentioned yesterday in the newest episode of Corridor Crew. Which is, are you guys YouTubers, Geare brothers? Do you know Corridor Crew? It's a YouTube channel. It's these guys that do special effects, and they do a show on YouTube where they sort of talk about special effects that's happening. Critique it one way or another. Sometimes
I just wrote that down. That sounds awesome.
It's fantastic. You learn so much about visual effects, and because these guys are pros in the industry with it, and they were actually covering some of these sort of B movies in their episode yesterday, and included scenes from both Cade the Tortured Crossing and Big Shark. So,
and how much punching down are they doing?
None at all.
Okay,
none at all.
All right, then back in.
None at all. Because they know what's up.
Yeah,
they're flummoxed as to what's happening.
Good word.
With Neil Breen playing his twin, with the worst beard you've ever seen in your life.
The most internet vibe movie in history. Cade the Tortured Cross.
I had to put these two together. I had to make their list because they were. I loved my experience with both of these.
And again, while we're here, Corridor Crew, I think the best way to sum up what they do, it's kind of like how Tom Savini grabbed hold of like horror fan zeitgeist and, would be in magazines and books, where these dudes they're relatable, they're straightforward, they break shit down that seems very complicated in VFX and makes it like, oh, that's why Scorpion King looked weird. Or like, oh, it was they might have a big team, but no time. And they kind of pull away the mystery of why movies look so fucking bad with CGI sometimes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I highly recommend that show.
Wow, their show's huge.
It's big, yeah.
Yeah,
well, they're kind of the only people doing it. Like making VFX like appreciated as art.
Yeah.
Because really it just kind of
they do a good job.
Yeah, they do a great job.
I just subscribed. That's awesome. Can't wait. Oh wow, this looks awesome.
Yeah.
Oksana, you're number 4. Here we go. Wolf Cop 2 made the list.
Do you need a little bit of time? Here we go.
Ladies and gentlemen.
Oh, no. David, what are you doing back in here?
No, I have it. I know what it is.
You got it.
I was just looking, like, I don't know. I'm going to go with my first theater experience of 2023, and that is Megan.
There it is.
I don't know. I like it. Not only is it like a good slasher, I mean, it's pretty graphic, even though we saw the PG-13 cut before they made the unrated one or the R or whatever. It's like a good slasher, but it's also an interesting conversation about AI and like parenting.
Oh. And what is that conversation?
Yeah, let's get into it.
Yeah. Well, I didn't realize that was a 2023 flick. I thought
dude.
Okay.
It opened the year up.
Yeah.
That's funny.
Movie.
It seems, I thought that was the previous. Yeah, I like Megan too.
Honorable mention on mine.
I'll throw that up. Honorable mention for sure. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. I don't know. I feel like I think about this movie a lot, especially with like similar products to Megan that are actually being made, like AIs that will train your kids to do things so that you don't have to as a parent.
Well, I mean, we're a little bit guilty of that too. We've entered the hashtag try parenting with Miss Rachel.
Yeah.
Shout out to you, Miss Rachel. You do God's work. Just don't kill our neighbor's pet, I guess. That would be its own movie.
I think about that Megan dance probably once every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
For me, it's The Run. the
run.
Yeah, the run
Yeah.
through the forest.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I think
It was what it was
funny movie. It was
when
a very funny movie.
When the movie ended, I felt like it was weird. I went and I really enjoyed it. I was like, I have a feeling this will be that good first movie, and I feel like the second one, it's going to just get better. I think if they, I think this could be a really good franchise. It really sets the table because they slow burned it, and which I like. And you didn't really start getting to the good stuff till kind of towards the end. So, I'm looking forward to that sequel for sure.
Yeah, really good filmmaking there. The important thing to note is that James Wan waited for the doll to be made before crafting the script. Because he's like, the worst thing you can do with the creature features, you write a movie, have expectations on how the thing's going to look, and then you look at it and you're like, that's not this movie. So, I mean, listen to everybody. Also, Megan, I thought, really, it sent a warning sign to me, too. Back the year prior, I saw a vampire movie in D-Box called The Invitation, and it was god-awful. But it was the first movie I remember releasing PG-13 in the theater and then R streaming. And I remember feeling, what the fuck? Why did you show me the baby version? Like, this movie was already terrible. Give me some blood or something.
Yeah.
Give me a nipple, right? And then Megan did it too, and I went, oh no, that's the future.
You can't go nip in PG-13.
Oh God, no. TVMA now.
Oh,
Actually, honestly,
for a nip.
2024. We're talking tip now. We're probably going. Let me get a tip for
Russell,
rated R.
Russell, important question. You mean man nip too?
Oh no, God.
No, you can't milk those.
I don't want a hair near the nip.
Now, Clark.
Not for Dershman. All right, Russell John, your number 4 film.
No, I don't do that. Now,
all right,
have
you're
a
whatever the fuck you want to do.
My next genre.
Russell's on his own list.
Yeah, this is what you have to do. Clark shows up here and he just belittles me every show. He wears glasses. He won't even look me in the eye. So I have to live in my own world. I have to give myself my own flowers every
You
episode.
put on a nice work shirt today.
I dressed up. I couldn't find the tie. I think because I'm going to ride your wave.
Yeah, dude.
Of avant-garde outsider art.
Party on, dude.
And I'm going to go into, actually, that's a terrible segue because it doesn't apply. I'm going to do my favorite theater experience of 2023, which honestly, I have a kind of like hacky one, which I'm going to go with now because the other two options were Neil Breen and Tommy Wiseau.
I mean, that's, they were great.
I'm glad you picked it because I honestly forgot we went until you reminded me down.
It was early. It was like April of last year.
I think it was yesterday you reminded me when we were at the fridge and you're like, oh yeah, these. I'm like, oh fuck, those were great. Again, you failed to mention that we saw future time traveling Randy at Big Shark. Randy, you're gonna grow a foot taller in the future.
We should have closed the loop. We should have closed the loop at Big Shark because that was Bizarro World Randy.
Yeah,
it was just about 8 inches taller.
We should have killed him. So I guess, my favorite theatrical experience of the year is going to have to take place at, it's a coincidence, but our film fest, the Unnamed Footage Festival. We had a bunch of great stuff going on. We had Horror in the High Desert 2, Dutch came out.
Self-promotion.
We had what everybody hated on this show. Hashtag Chad gets the axe. We had 2 different movies being watched at the same time because the chat was so interactive and had its own characters that everybody who was born 1995 or up, they all just engaged with characters that other people born before 1995 didn't even know were a character. And that was great. But what really stole the show for me wasn't Tontine, the reality film that we dug up. Congratulations to Thomas Burke and Madeline Marbles, a.k.a. R.I.P. And we had a full house for it, too. People flew out. It was crazy. The thing that I want to mention is a movie that we paid $500 a show. It's a little behind the curtain here.
Oh, boy.
The new Koji Shirashi film, Safeword. Now, after Tontine, which is a lost reality show that, had ties to Survivor and people had been looking for years, after that packed theater emptied out and it was about midnight that we're starting a movie about a pro wrestler turned dominatrix set in Japan. And we looked out there like, holy shit, there's still a lot of people here. And then we did a trivia where we gave away a sex toy for some Koji Shirashi trivia. Like, It was one of the best things ever. Also, Terrell squealing as a girl peed on another girl's face may have been the pre-Saltburn moment of the year. So again, if you're not coming to the film fest, you should. This is turning into a commercial now because it really was the best theatrical experience. And the Geare brothers, you are always invited. I believe our new festival, the dates are up. It's the end of March. So if y'all are in the Bay Area, come out here. We'll roll out the red carpet for you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
I love how that turned into a commercial. I feel very proud of myself right now.
No, we didn't have a commercial spot this week. We were running tight, so I'm glad you kind of killed two birds with one stone there. You did a good job.
Also, I did forget to plug the festival dates in the last episode. Oksana, you're fired as a producer.
All is well. All right, we've made another lap. So, Jeff, keep us going with number 3.
Okay. I thought you were calling for the band to do the theme music again.
Okay,
now we're moving and shaking.
I don't know whether to give you a little preface or just say it and then explain it, but I think I'll just say it and I'll explain it if needed. Elemental.
Oh boy,
dude, you're bringing the takes today.
I'm doing it, and the reason why, my girlfriend, I mean, God bless her, I don't make her watch a lot of movies, but I'm usually the one saying, let's watch this movie, and then we watch it. And at a certain point, she was like, we don't watch movies I pick. So I was like, okay, like you pick movies. So we have her in the rotation now, picking movies, and a lot of them are Disney flicks. And I saw Elemental earlier this year, and I gotta say, dude, I got choked up. I got moved, brothers and sisters. This was I genuinely very much love this movie. I can't wait to see it again. Elemental, that's a strong 3 for me.
Now, is this a Pixar?
I believe so. Yeah, I believe it's a Pixar movie.
And are you catching all the? Is this up to snuff with all the other Pixars, or is this something you haven't gone in for a while and it kind of poked at the heartstrings a little bit?
No, I this was in a stream of a bunch of Disney Pixar flicks that I was watching, and some of them are really good, and other ones I'm not too impressed by, but this one really touched me, and I think there was an element of like I kind of identified with the water. And
in Saltburn or in Elemental?
Wait a minute, isn't that what M. Night did in Avatar?
But genuinely very funny, very cute movie. If you're looking just for a good time, I don't know. I actually don't want to go on record necessarily recommending it, but I'm certainly going on record. I'm certainly going on record.
The hell?
I'm certainly going on record as loving it. Okay. So,
all right.
Yeah.
It is on the record.
It's on the record. That's for damn sure. All right. Number 3, I'm going Evil Dead Rise.
Atta boy.
Yeah.
Loved it. Brutal. Just one location pretty much. Love the intro. That was one where the intro was just so good. It was like, oh God, if the movie could just stay at this level the whole way through. And it just was just pretty relentless. I thought the performance of the main, I forget her name too. I've been horrible with names lately, but yeah, whoever the lead was in that, she was just the one that was possessed. She was just fantastic the whole way through. And the kills were brutal. Great finale. I mean, just another great Evil Dead movie. Loved it.
For the record, I am staring at the IMDb page, and I think I know who the actress is, but I will not be attempting that name.
Alyssa Sutherland.
Oh, okay, then I had the wrong actress.
I think that's
You're all, I can't read. I'm going to text this to somebody.
I'm staring right at it. I'm like, should I jump in here? And I'm like, nah, not worth it.
Now, Russ, didn't you say this is one of the best sequels in the franchise?
Ooh, I don't know. That's a strong friend, and you either love it or hate it, but it really reminded me of Demons 2, which I loved. Are y'all like Demons fans?
Yeah.
Yeah. There's something about like you're trapped in an apartment building.
Yeah.
You love that.
It's a fun setting.
Yeah, when it took a little like fantastical turn, I'm like, honestly, I could have put this as a fantasy movie. That's my failure there. And that third act, yeah, it would have been a good crescendo for it. Huh.
You just fit any square peg in any round hole you find.
No,
don't you?
it's a journey of characters. I want it to be a little bit
journey of characters.
Heightened reality. I don't want like something. That's not even true. Yeah, I do. I just fit anything in there. You're right. Yeah, I admit it.
Randy Michael, you're number 3.
Sure, this is where I have a caveat this year.
Oh boy.
No.
Technically,
Randy, no porn, Randy.
it's technically a mini series.
Okay.
I'll allow it.
But it's like a little bit longer than it's like 3.5 hours long if you watch it all in one sitting, which I have done.
That's like a short movie these days. Keep on.
Exactly. It's like Beau is Afraid plus 20 minutes.
That's right.
It's I'm a Virgo by Boots Riley, show that takes place in Oakland and is shot pretty close to where I used to live for at least a couple of the episodes. This is another sort of absurdist satire sort of comedy that takes place in the real world, but there's people with superpowers. There's like a hero played by Walton Goggins in it. It's a very fun show. If you've seen Boots Riley's previous feature, this feels very similar to that. I don't know. It's a lot of fun. I've seen it twice so far, and think it's a really great show. And I don't know a whole lot of people that have seen it, so I haven't really talked to many people about it. But yeah, it's a lot of fun. And like I said, it's cool to see stuff shot in Oakland. There's not a ton of stuff, a ton of movies that I've seen shot in Oakland. But yeah, it's always cool to see places that you're familiar with on screen. And I think this is a great show.
I need to watch this.
Oh, yeah, I'm bored there.
Randy, you seen this twice.
Yeah, I did my homework like 2 months ago, and I watched the whole thing in one sitting because I had previously watched it in different locations and like not in ideal scenarios. Part of it on a phone, so I wanted to rewatch the whole thing, and yeah, it holds up.
Well, Randy, I watched the infamous bathtub scene on a phone, and I'm saying it was fine. That's all I'm saying. Beauty's in the eye of the beholder. All right, I'm a Virgo. I said, you know what? I'll allow this. Boots Riley, he's friend of the show. Randy. You remember?
Yeah, we saw him at the Alamo once. Yeah,
yeah. What movie did we see him there? We were like, that's Boots Riley.
I think it was. Was it Midsummer?
It was Midsommar.
I think so.
That's what it was. So he suffered right there with us. Old Boots, me and Boots.
Before we move on, I will say there's a great use of practical, like in-camera stuff here. Essentially, the main character is a 14-foot tall black teenager, and they do everything with forced perspective, and it gives a really cool, interesting look. I heard it was very awkward for him to perform the scenes because he would be not really looking at his partner in the scene because he'd be closer to the camera and they'd be much farther away. But yeah, a lot of really cool, inventive filmmaking.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to take this opportunity. I was going to do a little intermission later on, but we have a special top 5 list from East Bay cinematographer Jasadi Perkins. And the reason I'm interjecting here is because he absolutely disliked I Am a Virgo. And he claimed that the problem with Oakland filmmaking is that they're portraying it in a non-reality. Like his example,
well, and he's a lifelong Oakland.
He's still living out there. But here's the thing.
Oaklandite?
The thing that he pointed to is that a lot of people love to like praise the sideshow culture of Oakland. And he's like, they're not even called sideshow anymore. They're called takeovers, and people hate them.
Yeah, but sideshow Bob sounds better than takeover.
Oh my God. So here, let's hear a word. Again, this is if you're a long-time listener or long-term listener, as we learned last episode, we used to allow people to call in past guests and give their top 5. And this year, for the past 3, we haven't offered that up, mainly because we're lazy. Well, Jasadi was one of a few people who was very mad to not be a guest on this show. But again, we can't have a 10-hour show, although I'd like it. Clark would be very angry.
Yeah, correct. You need to learn how to say no in your life.
I know. So I said, the best I can offer you is that we bring it back and you send me a recording. So let's go ahead and hear the recording. And for the record, I've not heard it. If he starts throwing around M-bombs,
then why are we playing it?
Because our producers okayed it. Oksana, verify.
Correct.
How long is it?
It's a minute.
All right.
Here we go.
Yo, what up? This is your East Bay cinematographer, Jasadi. So this is my top 5 lookies for 2023. Fuck you, Clark, because number 5 is King Von.
My man.
Bitch.
My man.
Yeah, it's a dope ass documentary. Y'all should check it out, even though I know Randy is not gonna watch this shit. Very informative. Number 4, Talk to Me. Another great film. I think it really resonated with me because it kind of like touches on like drug culture and just partying and doing dumb shit with your friends. Number 3 is John Wick 4. I don't even need to explain that. Like that's like the creme de la creme of action movies. Number 2, Godzilla -1. It's just a classic. I don't give a fuck about Godzilla movies usually, so this one really surprised me. And my number 1 movie, you want to guess what it is? They clone Tyrone.
Tight.
Nice.
Yes. I don't like this movie's so dope. It just has so many different layers and like I just love everything about this movie. Like
And we're short on time, so we're back to the lookies.
All right. Do you got any other secret voicemails
That's
hidden in
all.
your little kangaroo pouch?
Although that was a lot of fun, thank you, Jasadi. Please do not threaten me again next time. I think we should just open it up. If we're still doing the show next year, we should bring back that segment.
Dan Bowers set a precedent. Just threaten Russell. You get what you want.
All right. My number 3. I've talked about it a lot on this show, and that's okay because that's what we do. We talk about films that we like, films that we love, and I'll let all of you know right now that I rewatched this movie again last night because I purchased it, and I think this is the 3rd time that I've watched it this year, the year that it came out, and of course, as I'm looking Russell dead in the eyes. He knows what's coming.
I have no idea.
Blackberry, baby.
Are you fucking kidding me?
I love Blackberry.
You're a fucking hack. I hate you.
How am I a hack? Just because 6 or 7 years ago, we wanted to get the director, Matt Johnson, on our show.
No.
We emailed him, and he thought we were a part of the Overlook Film Festival. And then once we told him we were not, then he was no longer interested in us. I don't take rejection as hard as you do.
Oh, I didn't even realize that was him.
He is the same guy.
Look, no, here, and this is for the Geary brothers.
I'm not seeing it.
Clark loves anything with a fucking brand in it. So,
It's the year of the brand.
No. If we did a 90s recap, the dark story of Nerf, and it was all about the gun company, he would be like, oh, fucking Nerf gun.
Okay, first of all,
Are you?
who the hell would not watch a Nerf movie?
Yeah, you gotta see a Nerf
Oh,
movie.
dude, that's a brilliant idea.
Yeah.
Yeah, you nailed it. I'm watching
Nerf,
the
bro.
Nerf story. Are
Oh
you
my
kidding me?
God.
No, but I mean, you do bring a point. I mean, in a year that we have been inundated with brand
Yeah.
and
Air, Tetris, yeah.
Hot
it's
Cheetos or whatever.
Beanie Babies
Hot.
had a movie this year.
Fucking, I forgot.
So
Yeah.
and again, pointing back to Darren, I was telling you about Acute Misfortune is like with that movie, it is a perfect sort of anti-biopic. And we kind of have that here with Blackberry to a certain extent. I just really have you guys seen Blackberry?
No.
I haven't. It's been on my list
Yeah,
though because
me too.
I've heard it. I mean, it looks like it got great reviews, and I no shame. I mean, you know me, I have absolutely no shame. I put Elemental on my list, but every time I see it, I'm like, oh, I want to watch that, but it's on my list. I just haven't watched it yet.
Yeah.
I just casting is a big thing for me always.
Oh yeah.
And I think it's important because it's movies when done correctly and for the most part everything should be judged upon its own merit, but I with acting and things like that, the role of the director is sort of the conductor. and it's important that you've got a lot of different instruments to choose from, and you find a nice melody and harmony with everything that's working. And I think that the casting in Blackberry just worked perfectly for me. To use Glenn Howerton the way that they did, I mean, I when I saw the movie, the reason why this almost was my number one. I just really like this movie a lot, just because of how they execute the biopic. And I am a defender of the biopic, and I'm also a harsh critic of the biopic, because so many they're more terrible than not.
Agreed.
But to use a story like Blackberry, because it's a very interesting story, and it's not a very long story. There's around 10 years in this whole timeline that takes place, and and they go from nothing to the top, back to nothing. And I like those rags to riches to rag stories, and just the ensemble here is great. A lot of good big characters. It's just a lot of fun.
Good.
And it's just it's a good time. Blackberry, check it out.
Best quote of the year too. When Glenn Howerton yells, "I'm from Waterloo, where the vampires hang out." He's just like such nonsense, but he's like so passionate about when he says it.
He's one of my favorite performances of the year, because he is an unfiltered sociopath. And it is just and Jay Baruchel also was fantastic, and then Matt Johnson, who was the writer director, also kind of plays third banana in the movie. It's great. I love Blackberry.
How has there not been a McAfee biopic?
Like, because he's like scary.
He's dead now, right?
I think he's dead.
Yeah, I think he died like a couple of years ago. But dude,
or it could be we could be in another Clint Howard
buried
scenario.
next to Clint Howard.
Yeah, that's right. All right, Oksana, you're number 3.
My number 3 is it's been mentioned a couple times. It's not horror.
What?
Yeah, although it is tremendously violent, which I enjoyed. And it is Sisu.
Oh, tight.
There it is.
I loved it. And we saw it kind of early in the year. I made a mental note to myself not to forget how much I love this movie for this episode specifically. We saw it. They got promotional shirts at the screening we went to. By the time we got up to the table, all they had left was youth small or something, which we still took. I mean, maybe our son will eventually wear it, but yeah, this movie's
you can send it my way.
It might be like a little midriff, but it's all yours if you want.
Also, no, we've sent Randy merch before. He doesn't wear it. All right, was that it? It is funny. We got up to line. We were so pumped. All the people that didn't want to wait in the line were like, dude, we're going to get shirts. We got up there. I was like, oh, shirts? And they're like, they were like, YM. They're like, what does that mean? They're like, youth medium. And I was like, are you kidding me? So they didn't even, I'm like, no, I still want them. So we took 3 of them.
Use them as hand towels.
I don't know what we're going to do with them.
Why the hell would you make a youth size shirt for the most violent movie of the year so far?
Honestly, it's kind of a callback to the 80s. Make a fucking RoboCop toy or Predator toy.
I haven't seen this. It seems like nothing but fun.
It is actually a lot of fun. It's really funny too.
It's super fun.
Yeah, but there's also like a very serious attention to like color grade and pacing. So when it opens up, there's almost like a There Will Be Blood moment of a dude digging for gold.
Wow. Yeah.
And they kind of like the way the gold looks is so aesthetically pleasing in this, like just in the grade. And then you move into like John Wick, bloody, like don't fuck with this guy territory.
Yeah.
It's really good. And they have an homage to Jason in there from Friday the 13th.
Okay.
Yeah, it's fucking good movie.
And it's super splatter. I mean, it's great. Great movie.
There's also a cute dog.
Yeah.
Yeah, I do think
it's got Nazis. I mean, what do you want? Nazis in it.
I do believe it's from the producers of John Wick, and part of their marketing campaign was the dog doesn't die here. Right? Or it's like, we don't kill the dog or something.
Yeah,
it's like,
I don't watch the trailers, so I'm glad I didn't.
That's what the website doesthedogdie.com is for. Don't take away their bread and butter. All right.
All right, Russell, what genre are we going into now?
I don't know. I'm having a tough time picking. We got bangers, dude. What genres do you think are left on my list?
I don't know. Tell us.
We got 3.
Okay.
You got to guess.
Horror.
Okay, horror's one. You know what? Let's do that. Horror 2023. What a fucking year for horror movies. This is really tough. I feel like my whole journey with horror started in the slasher genre, and this year we had like fucking 3 good ones. Again, Thanksgiving, it's not going to make my list, but man, it was fucking good. Megan, every time there's a doll slasher movie, all you want is just fake Chucky. Just try and do Chucky again. I know you won't hit it, but please just give us the uncanny valley of a doll doing something. They delivered it. And then the secret one, buried in deep recesses of Netflix, The Conference was really good too. And if nobody's seen it here, I highly recommend you watch that. There's great subtext. Social commentary naturally comes out in that movie. And then the genre isn't forgotten either. There's a great buildup to a weapon. There's a fantastic mask. Not my movie though. I loved it. Slashers, I'm sorry, you were firing off, but I had a kid, and in the year I had a kid, there was maybe the most brutal televised death of a child ever to hit cinema outside of reality. And Where Evil Lurks is just, I have to give it to that. I mean, I've never been so captivated by a movie that I wanted to look away from. Also, very important to me is paying attention to the genre you're in. I've never seen a movie tease science as an answer like this movie did, where you almost have like an H.P. Lovecraft instrument hidden in a briefcase that's like the worst kind of MacGuffin in a bleak possession film like this. Also, rotten as a way to refer to people who have like gone rotten. It's so on the nose and beautiful. If you haven't seen it, I know this movie kind of made ripples, and it's not really my brand to ride that wave, but I think this film's kind of undeniable. It's really fucking good. And I mean it. This has been the year of like pregnancy horror, and having a brand new little bouncing baby out there. It's like, man, fuck y'all. Because these people are all my age, and you can tell they're struggling with, do I give up the freedom and have a kid? Or do I make a horror movie about how terrible kids are? And it's like, just fucking have a kid. It's great. Yeah, Where Evil Lurks. It was fantastic.
Yeah. I feel like we may have more to come on that one.
Saltburn.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, I hate it because with a movie like that, you're like, other people are probably going to pick it, but I got to be contrarian.
No, it's great.
Yeah.
It's great. All right, Jeff, number 2.
Well, my number 2 is exactly the same movie that Russell just covered. When Evil Lurks.
Oh,
I recently saw it, and I didn't know what to expect. I knew like in my Facebook horror film groups I'm a part of, like I knew there was a lot of talk about it, but that doesn't really mean that much. But I really liked the cover and stuff, so I was like, okay, I'll check it out. And I didn't realize it was going to be a foreign film. So I was like, okay, gotta do subtitles, which is fine. It was great.
Maybe take the sunglasses off.
Yeah, the sunglasses did come off. But yeah, it was one of the most disturbing films I've seen in a long time, but still staying within the parameters of like, it didn't turn into one of those movies where you're just like, come on, dude, like, why are we making it this disturbing? Like, it felt like it was still within the realm of, I don't know, decent society or something. Yeah, I don't want to say too much because Darren hasn't seen it yet, and I was really hyping it up to him. There was certainly like more than one scene where I was literally like just yelling. It wasn't a scream, it was a yell. Like, oh my God, oh, what the fuck? What? So there was a few of those. So yeah, I don't really, and I love, there was a little funny thing in there if you're a fan of The Last of Us video game and TV show. The main character, I felt like was dressed and looked like Joel for the first, and then he had a clothing change, and then he literally did a clothing change where now he looks like Ellie from the show. So I don't think it's funny. You know, when he has to wear his not his brother, but his ex-wife's husband when he wears his clothes. I thought that was pretty funny. I have no idea if they knew that doing it. They probably didn't, but if they did, you know, kudos to them. But yeah, that lead actor could have been Joel in that TV show. He totally had it. But yeah, loved that movie. Loved it.
Randy Michael, number 2.
Did we skip one of them?
Wait, what?
You forgot
I forgot,
Gare.
Uh-oh.
Totally did. Darren,
Damn.
take it away.
Darren, Darren holds grudges, dude.
Yeah,
You gotta
I do.
be careful, bro.
I do. And I've been known to retaliate. So
Hey now.
No, I got to get to my number 2 actually because Clark and Russell, both of you have honorable mentioned this film. I got to bring it in for my number 2. Thanksgiving.
Attaboy.
I effing love this movie. I mean, what I loved about it, I love that it's rare that something feels this much like a classic slasher with no self-referential, no meta, no modern day bullshit tacked onto it. You just literally could have watched that exact movie made 30 years ago, 40 years ago. And that's what I loved about it. It was just so old school, but in the perfect way, like just pure splatter, fun. The kills were great. Jeff and I talk all the time. I mean, we're huge Eli Roth fans. I feel like he's super underrated. Just a big fan of a lot of his work. Doesn't have a perfect catalog, but I think his good work is really good. And yeah, I just absolutely love Thanksgiving.
You know, that's a great point. It does come across as like this evergreen slasher, right?
Yeah.
Because it you know, pick a point any time between modern day and the 80s.
Yeah.
You can plug that in there. You're fine.
Totally. You just get that Friday the 13th or just like one of those sort of, you know, Valentine, you know, it's like, I don't know. It's just, it's like a movie you could have just picked up in a video store, you know, 40 years ago. That's what I love about it.
Yeah, man.
Patrick Dempsey crushed it in that too. He was great.
And, you know, we know y'all are big Eli Roth fans, but most people aren't.
Yeah.
And I know Oksana, people were reaching out to her when we went to see it, and they're like, is that really good? Do I have to watch it? And she was like, yeah. And normally I don't love Eli Roth movies. And that got so many people to go.
Wow.
They're like, okay, I kind of feel the same.
Yeah.
So I don't know if it was just teaming up with his good friend Tim Dillon that did it for him, but he really brought it there. That movie's so fucking good.
It's just highly satisfying.
Yeah,
it is
all the way through.
It really is. Yeah.
All right, now number 2, Randy Michael.
Yeah, my number 2 is one I think probably nobody else has seen here. It's one of my, it's going to be my most pretentious pick. It's on the Criterion channel.
Oh, the humble brag has commenced. Here we go.
It's called Godland.
I don't live in California, Dave.
It's a movie that is beautifully shot in like 4:3 with like the rounded edges. Everything looks beautiful. It is very cold and very like just sort of bleak. It's like a 19th century movie where this Danish priest is supposed to go to this remote part of Ireland to sort of like colonize it and whatnot. And sort of on the journey, he becomes very, he starts to lose his sense of self and sense of reality. And you could tell that the cold and the nature of the trip just really like beats him. And the main actor, you could just really see it in his eyes, like how tired he is and how much the trip affected him. And I will say I did watch this with my first bout of COVID, like maybe a month ago. So maybe I was feeling a little isolated and a little whatever as well, and it really helped me immerse into this movie. And like I said, it's beautifully shot, and it's a little long. It's like 2.5 hours or something like that. But I don't know. It's really good. One of these sort of like slower movies that I've seen this year. I didn't care for the movie NS Men, which a lot of people loved. This feels like sort of a similar vibe, but I was a big fan of Godland on the Criterion Channel.
COVID approved for Randy.
I was in a fever dream, dude.
The movie does look like a fever dream.
It's good. It's really good.
And don't hate on the Criterion. I'm a huge Criterion Channel fan, so I
yeah.
Randy, where's this available? Is this a movie selection?
Criterion Channel.
Criterion.
Oh, thanks.
This ain't on Tubi, Clark. All right?
Movie.
This ain't no Pluto flick, all right?
This got Pluto written all over it. You know Pluto's famous for their penchant for 4:3
Hey, listen.
aspect ratio.
Rounded
Listen,
edges.
rounded edges.
The Retaliators is on Tubi, so don't
dude.
hate.
Fuck yeah.
Don't hate.
Oh, I love Tubi. Don't-
Hey, we are
Yeah.
big Tubi guys over here. Tubi or not Tubi?
Yeah.
We Tubi.
I love it, dude.
So Randy, again all year you've given me shit again. Unfriended, also on the Criterion streaming, and you would always say something.
It's not anymore.
We have this thing every week. You have to mention it. He has to correct you.
Dude, but Randy would always say a thing. Just because it's streaming doesn't mean it's in the collection. So does that
This
mean
is true.
Godland actually doesn't have the
really?
stamp of approval from the cinema gods over at Criterion?
Could
It
I
looks
pick
like
it in the
it's pretty
closet?
christened over there. They put a big. Because I'm always over there because I dig back. I love to watch a lot of older movies, and when that came out, they put that everywhere and pumped the shit out of it for sure. So it looks like it's pretty Criterion approved.
All right. And again, you are talking about Unfriended, correct?
Oh, not unfriended.
All right. Hell yeah.
All right. Well, we're going to keep this moving along because my number 2 is When Evil Lurks.
All right.
Wow.
Yep.
I mean, what else can we say? It's fantastic. And I was excited because I was a big fan of this director's first movie, Terrified, that came out a few years ago. I was able to see that as a part of Fantastic Fest satellite thing that they had over here as well, and thoroughly enjoyed Terrified and was very excited for When Evil Lurks. And man, it is abrasive in its horror. And I mean, we have one. I mean, it just keeps amplifying to the point to where I didn't know where we were. I was just along for the ride. Most of the time, I'm trying to pick things apart.
Yeah.
But with this, it was just at a juncture to where I didn't know where we were going, because I was uneasy the whole time. Because that scene that we can't talk about, when that happened, I haven't had a moment like that since, I would say it was a Hereditary level gasp that I had. Like when the young lady got her head popped off on the telephone pole, like this was that level reaction I had to where I audibly like gasped and lost my breath.
Yeah.
That was happening. And, but then, I mean, outside of that, it's just a really good film.
Yeah.
And, I love the ending. And that's it. I want to be respectful for everyone who has not seen it, because enjoy the journey, man. It's great. It's fantastic.
You did bring up a good point, though. Terrified, a lot of people talked about the humor in that film. There's humor here, too. It's just of the darkest variety.
It is. Also, I will say, there's something about watching a foreign language movie where it feels more important.
Yeah.
First of all,
Yeah.
it feels more important, and I'm more forgiving with exposition. And I appreciate the exposition in this movie because it's basically kind of all serviced through the grandmother. And when the grandmother's kind of giving the folklore of everything, the way that that's presented, I thought was genius.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And it benefited to the overall story, and it threw in another character. It added depth.
Yeah.
It's just great. It's great. This also is a 12-star movie.
Absolutely. And Clark, if I could just piggyback on that a little bit, because I went into that movie based, like, I saw the description on I think it was Amazon Prime, and dude, it was so horribly described on Amazon Prime because they kind of give away what you don't find out until like the third act, which I really didn't. I thought that was kind of a disservice to it. But I luckily I was able to kind of forget what the description was once you're in it, because once you're in it, you kind of just get dropped into really a world. And I was kind of fighting to just understand it the first like 20 minutes or so. Like, wait, what? Like, do they know? Like, how do the rules work? And I thought it was really ingenious how they did it. But yeah, if you're going to watch it, like, don't read the description. I would definitely recommend not reading the description on it.
Yeah, just roll right in there and strap yourself in, friend.
Yeah.
I pulled it up right here on IMDb, and I'm like, that's fucked up.
Yeah.
IMDb, fuck you.
Also, a little funny thing, my girlfriend, she speaks Spanish, and the whole movie, it had subtitles, but she felt the need to keep telling me what they were saying. She's like, oh yeah, so he was saying that. I was like, you know what? I don't mind it at all, actually. I feel
it's good to have the double filtered, language system in.
Yeah, because I did notice maybe some lines weren't translated very well too, actually, as she was translating it. So yeah, go figure. But yeah.
Oksana, your number 2 film of the year.
I want to just add I really like the grandma in When Evil Lurks, especially when she's setting up the lore. It's kind of like still kind of questionable. Like, you don't know for sure. At least I didn't, if she's making any of it up or if it's like superstitions or something. But
yeah, she felt kind of unaware of the impending doom. She was just kind of in the back seat.
She's a tough old bird.
Yeah.
What's another apocalypse? She's ready to roll.
So my number 4 has been talked
Number 2.
about. Sorry, number 2.
Yeah, we've been doing this for almost 2 hours now, Oksana.
Thanks for joining in.
the list. Never mind. So it's been mentioned several times, and it was another really fun theater experience. And then finding out more about it after watching the movie just like amplified how great it was. And it's Talk to Me. I didn't know the YouTube channel the directors ran.
Rocka.
I was not familiar at all. I just knew that they were twins. They were kind of goofy in the intro, and it was very disarming. And then the movie just like immediately like waste no time in just like shocking you. And then I don't know, it's just like nonstop like the whole time. I really enjoyed it.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel a little bad for not mentioning Talk to Me, but I thought it would get a lot of love. Clearly, the one thing that is most important about that film is the goddamn prop. That Ouija board turned into a mannequin hand. So good.
Yeah.
I love it. I still want to own it. I know a couple of boutique labels put out versions of the Blu-ray that came with the hand, but you're looking upwards of $100, and I just can't wing it right now.
And I think it's blank, isn't it?
Yeah, they are blank. You do have to graffiti your own Ouija hand.
Oh,
and so if you're into that, yeah.
I wasn't the biggest fan of that movie, but
how dare you?
But I will say, and the only reason I'm bringing this up because there's something I really loved about it. It's what they did to the brother. Dude, I could not believe how just fucked he got in it. Like, I was like, Jesus. Like, I didn't realize they were going to go that far with it. And that to me was like, When Evil Lurks level, like
I definitely gasped at that one too, for sure.
Ooh, gosh, man. Yeah, so I would say it's worth it just to get, to see what they do to the brother there.
So I'm going to use this as the perfect segue into the genre that is most feared by my co-host here on the show. I'm going to call it True Cinema in 2024 YouTube. It is YouTube cinema I'm going to talk about. And Rocka is a great example because do you know how they fucked up that brother? in there. Pull up their Mortal Kombat fatalities video on YouTube. It's kind of an indicator of they always had the chops to do that kind of gore. And the fact that they were able to kind of keep it restrained in that movie, because their tone on YouTube is the complete opposite. These idiots are, turning Super Saiyan on YouTube, but they're hooked up to cables and jumping in the air. But in Talk to Me, it's so it's so controlled.
Yeah.
And they still beat the fuck out of that kid, and it's beautiful. But yeah, I'm going to talk about YouTube. So I'm going a little bit backwards here. Now, these are films that I would argue. Here's the problem. You make a 2-hour-long narrative piece on YouTube, and immediately it's now dubbed a internet video. Like, people don't want to call it film. Although a lot of these creators go on IMDb anywhere and load it up there. I believe a couple of weeks ago, while we were doing the show, I found a podcast that had been uploading all of their episodes, or recording them on IMDb. So it's really like
We're
the
on
Wild
there.
West of the internet database.
Yeah,
What's up,
look
Randy?
us up. We're on there too. I think it just probably auto feeds if you're on YouTube.
No, we're not.
Yeah,
we are.
I literally just looked like 10 minutes ago. I saw us on there.
All right. Who's putting us on IMDb to ruin my argument, my little rant right here? Are one of you two doing that live right now? That's so weird. What are we credited in there?
Yeah.
If you click on any of our names, does it go to our Barbados boy credit where
Yeah,
we won an
that's
award?
on there too.
That freaks me out. That's some AI shit.
Your inverts.
Really?
You were in that?
I don't think I was in that movie. Hey, it's giving me false credit now too. You know what? I'll take it. Anyway, a couple of mentions, and I know this is going to be like, here's the thing: the Geare brothers will get it. And if you're watching the Criterion channel, if you're going to the theater, and we're really looking at cinema as a whole, I do think we have to include it into our visual narrative rainbow. We got to bring in YouTube. There's a lot of people doing different kind of art out there that is completely worthy of 6 hours of hard, factually loaded documentaries that encompass like Twitter and stuff, which is just Sadie Perkins at number 5. He gave it to King Von, Raps for a Serial Killer. That dude, Traplore Ross, gets death threats because he puts together fantastic cases for all these young trap artists who kind of put it all out there online. They're actually like criminals, and there's a paper trail. But because of the medium, nobody really pays attention. So Traplore Ross, honorable mention. There's another thing that I'm slightly stalling for Clark to get back for, because there's another epic unfolding, a investigative journalism bout that is linked together with several almost feature-length film documentaries. And of course, I'm talking about the journey through, around, and kind of discovering it was never really there of McCamey Manor with Reckless Ben. Now, again, not my pick, but I highly recommend everybody.
You still haven't made it. I've been gone for 5 minutes.
I've been stalling for you because I wanted to do this. You can't just exit and get lunch and come back and be like, hey,
You did?
No, I had to urinate. Again,
So did
something's
I.
going on with my bladder. There's an alien in me or something.
Well, you got to narrow your rating.
It doesn't check out. Anyway, Reckless Ben went undercover and infiltrated McCamey Manor, only to discover there is no McCamey Manor. This is an ongoing legal journey that in the middle of it, Hulu came out with the documentary covering the same topic. And I honestly think this is the best example of YouTube doing it better. It just it's growing as the story grows. The the Hulu documentary actually had a bunch of people who were important to the story tied up in an NDA, and they couldn't be a part of the YouTube experience. So again, Reckless Ben, not my pick. Don't glare at me. I'm sorry. I'm doing modern Criterion's work right here.
Oh.
I'm going to have the YouTube channel. I guess that's already been taken. But my pick for YouTube cinema,
Here we go. Much anticipated.
is a much more YouTube style of content, as I'm talking about a video essay let's play of a old game with a new mod. It's called MyHouse.WAD. Now, if I need to make a Criterion style stance for this movie. It is a person, a YouTuber, playing a game. It's Doom, in fact. And somebody made a mod, but in a ARG, the only way you could tell this story is encompassing extra files along with the download, picking apart sound effects that are altered just slightly from the game, tying in literary classics like House of Leaves and moments in our current culture like liminal space. And, phenomenons like the back room, which shout out to Kane Pixel. He also had The Oldest View come out. Not my pick. But MyHouse.WAD ties it all in. And the real icing on the cake here is the way that you tell stories now using the YouTube medium. We got a one-man band basically doing a mood piece for something that you can't really capture in a group setting. Like, if you're going to play this game correctly, you need a little bit of luck, you need a lot of research, and you need an understanding of Doom, a game that I never played before. And I mean, I love it. I love the aesthetic and everything, but I learned just as much about Doom, period, and the weird internet culture around it. Like, I didn't know what a Doom cute was before. It's kind of like a meat cute, but for the new Criterion vernacular. Doom cute. And I highly recommend it. You don't need anything approaching this.
What about Doom Metal?
I do know a little bit about Doom Metal. But just open up YouTube, type in MyHouse.WAD, and prepare to be not only blown away, but terrified as you jump on a journey of learning and exploring a video game in a group setting that was never intended to be that way. It's fantastic. It's up to 10 million views now. The medium is legit. And again, I love you, YouTube. Please help the algorithm find us and take us off to fame and stardom. I will forever worship you. Again, that's Power Pack. He's the creator of that.
Are you done with your little
I'm done.
Z
And here's
bullshit?
the thing. Again, me and Randy, we met talking about Truffaut. We were working in a warehouse and we're like, oh, French New Wave? I love that. And then it's like, no other dork in here is going to get it. And I couldn't have felt more alone when he let go of my hand on our cinematic journey. And I just discovered I was going on a weird fork in the road down YouTube. And I'm like, but there's art here, Randy. They have a full museum, the Cultural House of Art. And he's like, no, I'm on Criterion streaming, watching Unfriended. Go ahead, say it's not on there anymore. I'm waiting for you to.
It's not.
But you know what is?
What is?
We've made it to number 1. We did it.
Whoa.
And also, had you not gone for on your little filibuster of bullshit, we could maybe get this episode under 2 hours. But we're getting close.
No.
All right, Jeff, you kick the honors off. What is your number 1 favorite film of 2023?
Yeah, so my number 1 was really easy. And it's really easy. It's so easy. Darren, I haven't talked to Darren about this at all, my list or anything. He and everybody else who knows me knows my number 1 because I've never this film was a revelation to me, like a cinematic revelation. And I'm still reeling from it. I get excited. I have like a real visceral excitement when I think about watching it again, but I've been kind of like holding it off. It's like tantric sex. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm not going to, I need to give a lot of time between, of really wanting it before I, finish. But
thank you so much.
This film is Oppenheimer.
There it is.
I saw it 11 times in the theater.
Oh, I'm sorry.
I saw it 11 times in the theater.
Sound like you said 11. Randy, can we do an audio check? Make sure everything's good.
Times in the theater, and I would have seen it more if I didn't run out of money, and I didn't have a job during the day. It changed my life. Just in terms of how I look at movies, and it really is just the most phenomenal movie I think I've ever seen. At least in theater and having that theater experience. Don't ask me why though. Like I can't convince anybody. I can't convince anybody why it's that good. There is something a little ineffable about what it's doing to me because I see things in the film where I could go, okay, I could see like that maybe being a little whack or maybe that casting was a little weird but I love it all. Even the things that I think are mistakes, I love the mistakes. And I think it makes the movie even more charming. And I think that's the sign of really loving a film is, even the things that you could acknowledge are maybe were done wrong in an objective sense, still work. It makes the movie better in my mind. So I'm going to have to go with Oppenheimer, man. I mean, I could go all day talking about it. So I don't even feel like I should bring up anything that I really love about it. Except Robert Downey, except Robert Downey Jr.'s hands. If you watch his hands in the film, you're gonna laugh, dude. It's like a hand performance. Okay, it doesn't make it. Trust me, if you see it 11 times, it'll make sense.
What's more distracting, his hands or Benny Safdie's Russian accent?
I love Benny Safdie, dude. He's all.
Me too.
This is also a movie I quote all the time. Like I weave it in, and I'll go on like, the monologues and everything. He's all, yes, a little bit.
It's pretty good.
Yeah, I can do the Benny Safdie Russian accent for sure.
For Halloween this year, you should paint yourself silver and be Benny Safdie.
Yeah, I did try to be Oppenheimer, Robert Oppenheimer for Halloween. I got the costume off of like Etsy or something. They totally ripped me off. Didn't come on time. I waited like half a month. I got a refund. I was like, come on. I got the pipe. I got like some of the accessories. But yeah. So
what was the costume? Did it have a mask?
No, it was just it didn't. What was funny about this costume? It was the one going around. Like anytime you tried to buy it, like the cosplay for Oppenheimer, he wasn't wearing any of that in the film. But for some reason, it just became like the standard Robert Oppenheimer costume. But it was like an overcoat, suspenders or something. The K6 pin, stuff like that.
With a hat.
Yeah, I'm obsessed with the movie, and in fact, every time I tell Darren, I got ashamed of telling people I was going to go see it because I knew if I did, they'd say, "Dude, why?" Like, and I didn't have a good answer for them. You know what I mean? I have to. I had to keep seeing it. It wasn't like, oh, I just really like this movie. I just had to.
Well, and to balance him out, I haven't even seen it yet. So
he hasn't even seen it yet. I'm afraid of Darren seeing it because I don't want him to not like it. It's one of those, you know what I mean?
It's been hard for me to get committed to the 3 hour plus movies.
Yeah.
I'll get to it soon. I will. So,
I love it.
Jeff, the thing is, we talk about films all the time.
Yeah.
And I feel like that weekend, the Barbie Oppenheimer weekend, it was like everybody knows Oppenheimer is going to be a great film. Yeah. And Barbie was kind of like the quirky, risky one.
Right.
And then it kind of flipped. And everybody I know came out saying, actually, like they either Oppenheimer was fine or they actively disliked it.
Yeah.
So you're kind of the first voice I've really heard just saying it was incredible.
Oh, dude, it's 2001 Oppenheimer. That's how I look at it in terms of like like what they did cinematically to make it exciting and engaging. Now I might be crazy because not everybody. I don't know a lot of people. I actually don't know anybody personally who feels that way about it except my girlfriend. She was a trooper. She went to like 8 showings, I think.
Did you really do 11?
Yeah, I really did 11.
Fuck, I love that so goddamn much. I
couldn't stop, dude.
That's why we had to have you guys on the show.
I was looking. I was looking for showings this weekend because
it became a problem.
At least at IMAX, but yeah it was.
Dude,
yeah,
you're addicted?
Yeah,
bro, that's like 33 hours of Oppenheimer.
Bro, and it wasn't enough. It wasn't enough, dude. Yeah,
I love
that's
it.
fantastic.
If you want to bring me on to talk about Oppenheimer ever, I will.
Anytime.
I love it. Well, Darren, right. you got a hard act to follow here.
I know. Well, it's funny because my pick is Barbie. No, I'm kidding. No, my number one is David Fincher's The Killer.
Excellent.
Just absolutely love that movie. Love him listening to the Smiths, that whole aesthetic, and love the voiceover, the writing, Fassbender's performance, incredible. It reminded me of, the way Zodiac kind of, I love Zodiac. I love the way it just, Fincher just has that sort of methodical filmmaking style where you just get kind of hypnotized into it. And I feel like the Killer is definitely a vibe. It's kind of an experience. There's not a whole lot to it in a weird way, but I just loved it. I just loved the movie.
It confirmed my theory that only sociopaths listen to the Smiths. That is, I liked how much of sort of an anti-action movie it is, while totally being an action movie at the same time.
Yeah,
and also just of how he's very meticulous in setting these rules.
Yeah,
but he also breaks those rules too.
Yeah,
and so it's and then also him messing up the job and getting everything kind of wheels in motion. It's very interesting, and it's one of these. It begs for a rewatch for me. I definitely want to rewatch it.
Yeah, and it doesn't launch the way you think it will. It's kind of like, whoa, and it doesn't end the way you think it will, and it's just it's a great ride. I loved it.
And to be fair, I haven't seen your number one.
Yeah, you haven't seen it.
But I'm dying to see it. I'm chomping at the bit.
You will love that.
I kept looking for it on Prime, and I was so stupid. I should just looked up where you could watch it.
Yeah,
it's just on Netflix. Yeah. But that's like the one streaming service I don't have a subscription to right now.
Yeah.
I usually only renew it when Stranger Things comes out. And then I get rid of it because it's too expensive. Yeah.
But last thing I'll just say is that his wardrobe was just fantastic. I loved what he was wearing the whole thing.
Oh, yeah, it's hilarious. Yeah, I love it.
I saw the first 10 minutes.
Yeah. It's great. Copying the German tourist so nobody pays attention to him. Yeah.
So good. So good. All right, Randy Michael, your number one of the year.
Sure, if I were to cheat, I'd put 2 movies here. But I'm going to go with Dream Scenario.
Whoa! Coming in with the Borgley.
Hell yeah. Christopher Borgley, who I believe, if I'm not mistaken, I introduced you guys to via Drib.
Yes, you did.
Oh my god,
that was one of Randy's biggest contributions to the Unnamed Footage Festival.
That's true.
Hell yeah!
And didn't he denounce that film?
He sort of does. He considers it more of an experiment than a film, apparently.
I think it's his best
movie.
But yeah, Dream Scenario. You got some great late stage Cage here. Once again, he's been great recently.
I love that, dude.
And yeah, this is another movie of mine. I feel like my whole list besides Godland is kind of like absurdist sort of satires or like realities that are just like a little bit weird. But yeah, and also another one of Russell's favorite things to say is that the new currency is attention.
Mm-hmm.
And this movie definitely deals with that. And sort of, if you are to embrace that, sort of what the consequences are. And I think Sick of Myself, which he also did this year, deals with very similar things. And also both of them deal with his hate for advertising, the industry of advertising, which he used to work in. And it can be seen in Drib as well. But I saw this movie twice in theaters, not 11 times, but I did see it. I saw it on Black Friday by myself at like 4 p.m. or something. And then I saw it literally the next day, the same showing with some friends. It's great. I had a great time. Very fun.
Great.
Yeah.
Can't wait to see that one.
That's on my list. I just haven't gotten to it yet.
Yeah, it's so, Christopher Borgley, he's a guy to keep your eye on. And it's just so inventive. And I really like Cage's performance in this. And,
love the ending too.
The ending's it's so sweet. It ends sweet. Anytime you end sweet, I'm on board. And it's really good, man. It's really good. I'm glad you picked up the slack here because it certainly was in contention for me to at least talk about today. But I don't know. We've had a really strong year, and
I agree.
And this movie's great. And again, I think a lot of people slept on this movie.
For sure.
I think I thought it deserved a even bigger release, but great pick. Okay, well, it's time for Clark's number one, and we're going to do that with a musical cue.
Oh, not the
Which-
band?
Here we go. Yeah! Of course, I'm talking about my favorite movie of the year, which this song plays at least that song is very important. Now, what you
Oh
need to
my
know, what you need to
God.
know, Russell, is that I listen to this song non-stop. I probably listen to this song for at least an hour a day for most days. It's just, you get into the groove of it. My number one movie of this year is Anatomy of a Fall. And that song is played ad nauseum in the movie because what happens? Have any of you gentlemen seen this movie?
On my list. I haven't seen it yet.
Okay.
Keep hearing
Let
how
me
good
let
it
me
is.
walk you through. Let me set the table for you. We're in France. We have a husband. We have a wife. We have a son. Husband falls off the roof and he's dead. Who finds him but his blind son with his seeing eye dog? And then who's the first person they blame is the wife. So we have a murder investigation at this house in France. The husband is French. The wife is German. And I will also say that this is a foreign language film, but probably 30 to 40% of the movie is in English. So thumbs up for that. I love a foreign language movie that uses a lot of English. But again, the reason why I mention all this is because it's so very important part of the story of where we have a German who's on trial for murder in France for her French husband, and she doesn't speak a lot of French, and they only just recently moved there for him. And now this turns into, half of this movie is a courtroom drama. And if you were not aware of the court proceedings in France, buckle up for this because the French court system is fucking banana town. I don't know what's happening over there. If you're on the stand being questioned, they can have like a panel discussion with whoever the fuck wants to talk in the French court. I don't know what's happening over there. They also everybody dressed like Balenciaga Santa Clauses. It's very strange. So it adds an element of intrigue just because of the French court system, which is fantastic. But everything else, this movie is very French and it's very adult. And I am neither one of those things. But I love this movie because it just kind of harps on that fact of, there are three, it's your story, my story, and the truth. And this movie does a good job of presenting at least two sides of those and kind of letting you figure out what the third side is. And that song is a huge part of the movie because the husband who perishes is a musical artist and is working on this song in particular and died while this song was blaring on the speakers in the French countryside. This song plays on loop for at least 15 minutes of this movie. So you were just completely surrounded in this version of a 50 Cent song that this guy's been working on with calypso drums. And it's also got one of the best animal scenes of the year that will rip your heart out. But one of the best child performances of the year with the son who plays the blind kid. It's there's so much to enjoy here, and it's just great. I love Anatomy of a Fall. It's really fun.
Cool. Can't wait to see that.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, Sandra Hüller, dude.
Man, she's great.
I heard she's a whore.
Okay. What? You apologize to her. Look at her face.
I like
She's
how you
right
have
there.
all brand related, all foreign, and then of course the trifecta of boring cinema.
This
The
ain't boring.
procedural.
You know I love a procedural, but then you throw in France.
Yeah. They got a little what's that movie, the Terry Gilliam one where they have all the old style like powdered wig with all the little people on the boat. Time Bandits. It looked very Time Bandits.
I was
to
going
me
to say
when
Von Muchenhausen. Or
yeah, of course. You don't know a genre movie. Look
Thanks.
at your fucking top 5.
Dude.
Goddamn hack.
Claws.
Oksana, you're number 1.
I feel like so that my like top 3, I think all could have been shuffled around. Like I loved them all. This one, several people have talked about it already. Russell brought up that I'm not good about using my letterbox in a timely manner, but as soon as we walk out of Thanksgiving, I think I rated it 5 stars. And that's what I put on my Instagram story that everyone's like, I kind of hate Eli Roth. And I was like, I'm not a huge fan of his either, but that's why I was extra impressed with Thanksgiving. So it's like everything about it as a slasher, as a movie, even as like a comedy, like the jokes, the puns, I don't know, the wordplay, the throwaway mask, everything. The kills were so inventive and creative. It was, yeah. I don't
There's
know.
one. I have one problem with the movie.
Mhm.
One problem. In no known universe is that little 5'8" twerp able to throw a 98-mile-an-hour fastball. That's the only thing.
Good, okay.
I don't buy that. That's it.
Yeah, not a big spoiler, more of a conflict of character design.
Casting. It's a casting choice.
And I'll tell you, one thing that people don't give enough credit for is whenever you bring in a hot comedian to your movie, they're always misused, or they steal the scene, or like they're never used properly. The application and demise of Tim Dillon in this was perfect.
Hilarious.
I feel like Clark's a huge fan, so I'm very aware of like what's going on, who he is, little intricacies. And I feel like if you had no idea who he was, you wouldn't know that he was somebody. But also, if you were a fan, you might chuckle at the idea of him owning a cat. So it was played fucking perfectly. Also, the main thing that people brought up about that movie, does he do everything they promised in the trailer? I mean,
Of course, the trailer you made from Grindhouse.
yeah.
from Grindhouse. And I remember when I watched Grindhouse in the theater, it's like that seemed like a fantastic slasher just because of the amount of shit you would need to pull it off. Like, you had a decapitation in the middle of a parade.
Thanksgiving.
That's a lot of extras. And, in modern cinema, we don't like extras. We like to be in an apartment and not cast. He did it. He delivered everything. And fantastic.
Yeah.
Good pick. I'm glad you did that.
I also really like the cat.
The cat, again.
Beautiful cat, good actor.
Great scene with the cat.
Again, celebrity cat came out of the Pet Sematary movie. He had a much, it was better. His career took off more than the movie did.
The cat?
The cat's career, yes. He was a sensation online. Yeah, man, what a fucking tough year. I'm glad you picked that, Oksana. I'm glad it got a lot of love.
And Jeff can hang, but I've got to run, so I got to hear your number 1, Russell, before I run.
Okay, then I'll keep it brief for you. Again, this is the in-world camera pick. I'm a connoisseur. I practically wrote the book and the history of all found footage films.
In perfect English.
And I have to pick one. There's been a lot. And I think I have to go with our boy, Ricky Umberger. Project Eerie is a fucking fantastic film.
Excellent.
This is I think it's great. I highly recommend you guys watch it. The way this movie was marketed is Ricky lived by a haunt, walked down the street and put flyers on all the windshields of cars. This is a micro budget as you get. He breaks every rule of storytelling in cinema. It's an anthology film, and it works perfectly. He made this movie not as part of his trilogy of terror, the fear footage films, mainly because he ran out of people he knew who could act that he hadn't already used. So for continuity, he just created a new brand. This is a weird type of movie. It is so fucking fun. And if you think you've seen everything, there's a creep show TV, it's a TV series now. There's a lot to be drawn from the horror well. And it might include Bigfoot and astronauts. You never know. It's so much fun. I love it.
Cool. It's Project Eerie. Project Eerie.
Project Eerie,
okay.
Yeah. And just to mention, because there's a lot. We had movies from UF come out this year. Chad Gets the Axe is now out. Other films that didn't even get touched on. Cobweb, fantastic film. I mentioned all the good slashers out. Scream 6, probably the final one due to internet back and forth.
It looks like nobody wants to come back.
Well, you fire a couple of actresses to get in political, and then the director gets blamed, so he quits, and then the whole yeah, dude, it's a
it's a
shit show.
Mess.
It's a shit show. Mother May, another film I really liked. I want to highlight The Dive, which was the night swim-esque one location, had to do with it was
that one was this year.
Yeah, it was this year. It was the fall but underwater. Love that. Here, our buddy Chris Goodwin, fantastic
Mirror,
film.
right?
Like that.
You got to remember Black Mirror. They put out like 3 good movies. My favorite being what the fuck was it called? Lock.
Nest Monster.
No, you want to turn me on.
That was last year.
Man, Lock Henry. No,
Was Lock Henry this year?
it was this year.
Abido.
And then one we dug up, Resurrected, the screen life film that has to deal with resurrection being real and the Vatican. I highly recommend people check that out. It's the most ambitious found footage film I've seen this year, and they pulled it off. Also had no money. And then, we got to mention Caviar, Jacob Michael King. Thanks for coming on the show. If you want Eddie, Betsy Brown, screen life, there's so many. This year was stacked.
But you just had a session of movie diarrhea, right?
I know. And again, I don't want to
using us as the toilet.
I don't want to take away. Well, because I can already feel it. My DM's building up with people. You didn't mention The Dive. No, I mentioned fucking everything. Had a long list. But again, the reward, the Lookie goes to Project Eerie. I highly recommend you all check it out. It's so much fun, and it may even scare you.
It's on Amazon Prime.
Excellent. It's on Prime?
Oh, it's for rental.
There you go.
You got to rent it, but I mean, give the man some money.
Yeah.
Also, go rent the fucking Retaliators. Let's get a bump in that.
That's right.
Y'all are the fucking coolest. We needed you on to talk genre because y'all navigated one beautifully. So.
Well, speaking of Amazon Prime, The Retaliators is on Amazon Prime for free if you have Prime. So go check it out. And we're on Tubi as well.
And make sure to rate it if you like it.
Excellent.
Yeah. That I have heard that is the way that you help a film.
Yeah.
You have to go in there and really give it a rating.
If you don't like it, just DM me. I'll send you some money.
Again, Jeff, Darren, thank you guys so much for joining us. This was so much fun, and we knew you guys were the perfect guests to have on to talk about the best movies of the year.
You guys are the best.
You
guys got anything going on? Anything you want to plug?
We've just been writing. We've got a couple new projects cooking. We're some exciting stuff going on. So
yeah, we're in the kitchen. It's
kitchen cooking.
Hot. You know what I mean?
There we go.
Good. Please
I'm wearing
keep us
my
updated.
apron only.
Seriously, if y'all have anything coming out, come here. We'll.
Yeah.
That's right.
We'll
I'm the maitre d', so you just let me know, and I'll send somebody in the kitchen, and we'll take it up.
All right.
All right, we'll keep this going.
Clark,
boys, this was a pleasure. Thanks so much, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you for listening to this episode of the Overlook Hour. And if you would like to hear more, please subscribe to us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or whatever your podcatcher of choice is. And while you're there, go ahead and give us a rating and or a review, which is a very easy way for you to support this show that we bring to you every week for years now, free of charge. And as always, you can find us on YouTube at The Overlook Theater, Instagram at The Overlook Theater, Facebook at The Overlook Hour, and Twitter at The Overlook Hour. Last but not least, you can send us your emails and tell us how much you like or dislike the show at overlookhour@gmail.com. And if you're nice, maybe we'll read them on the show. I've been your engineer, Randy Stat. Please join me along with Clark, Russell, and Oksana again next time. Bye.